Mr. Politician, it's good to see you again. It's been so long since you've been here. You had me thinking you were dead. How's your taxpayer mansion? How was your Mr. Politician? It's good to see you again. It's been so long since you've been here. You had me thinking you were dead. How's your taxpayer mansion? How was your
There with us on Unity 93.3 FM this lovely Tuesday morning. Yes, of course, today, don't forget, is the 29th of August 2023, and it's wonderful to be on radio for you this morning. Beatrice Adamo Iji is my name, and it's Unity Train this morning. I have in the studio my very own brother, and of course, Denjuma Samuel Abu. Denjuma, if you don't mind, please, a very good morning to you.
Thank you. Kubi, remember, we're also now on TV, so not just listener, but viewer. Thank you for being there, tuned to this station. Good morning, and I remain yours truly, Denjuma Samuel Abu.
Yes, we're now on TV. You can just be with us on our social media platforms there. I also have in the studio this morning an in-house analyst. I'll prefer to go by political scientist, and he's Mr. Shuaibu Udoro. Shuaibu Udoro, good morning.
Thank you, Kubi. Good morning, Mr. Samuel. Good morning, viewers. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, of course, we are reaching you live from the city of Jos, the hills of ZINARIYA, Plateau State, Nigeria. And don't forget, Plateau is that home of peace and tourism. And still on Plateau, you know, there's this issue of local government sealing and unsealing of the 17 local government secretariats on the Plateau. And this is taking us to the first headline this morning, which says Noge embarks on indefinite strike as police reopens local government secretariats in Plateau State. Doro, this is an issue, and we have to see what this bring to table, you know, for discussion this morning, if you don't mind.
Yeah, well, good morning, viewers, once again. I think the issue of local government in Plateau State, and not just in Plateau State, could be in Nigeria as a whole, is something that probably will have to be, you know, reviewed and maybe reimagined, you know, because I do understand that political or partisan, you know, tendencies and considerations actually seem to be threatening the very foundation, you know, of the local government system in Nigeria. As a result of which, you can see that the majority of citizens, especially at the local level, have practically been disconnected, you know, from the mainstream, you know, of the polity and all of that. Now, let's talk about Plateau State. You will recall that, you know, a few months ago, the new governor of Plateau State decided to suspend, you know, elected chairman of all the 17 local governments, you know, on grounds of a certain allegation, you know, bordering on, on certain allegations of financial impropriety, you know, and things like that. And since then, you know, there's been this legal tussle, you know, between the, you know, representative body, that is Algon specifically, you know, of the local government, and of course the Plateau State, you know, government. As a result of which, at some point, the IG, you know, the Inspector General of Police, decided to wade in by way of issuing an instruction to the, you know, Plateau State Commissioner of Police, then Bartholomew. Yeah, somebody, is it Nwako Bartholomew or Onyeka Bartholomew, to actually, you know, seal all the secretariats of the 17 local governments in order to forestall a possible breakdown of law and all that, because you would appreciate this could be, you know, at some point, and when that, you know, crisis was actually lingering, the people of Plateau State, had literally been pitched against each other. Supporters of the APC on one hand, supporters of the PDP, which had decided to suspend, local government structures on the other hand, had actually been pitched against each other. And given the volatile nature of situations in Plateau State and even the country as a whole, the police actually felt, this could be a recipe for disaster. So something had to be done to forestall, any unpleasant eventuality, as a result of which, the secretariats of the 17 local governments were actually sealed. And this was what happened. Now, just lately, I think specifically, on Sunday, the police actually issued a statement to the effect that suspended local government chairman could actually resume work yesterday, after the unsealing of the secretariats of all the local governments, and the statement or the decision by the police to unseal the local government was based on according to them, observation that relative peace had actually returned to the state, and so it was safe to actually reopen the secretariats of the local governments to enable elected chairmen, resume work and all of that. But in a swift, a sudden turn of events, the National Union of Local Government Employees, NOLGE, decided to embark on an indefinite strike. Is
some sort of coincidence?
It was a coincidence, but it was also deliberate. Yes. You understand? The reason they gave was that first of all, the Commissioner of Police or the Plateau State Police Command actually erred in law and even in principle by way of actually permitting the unsealing of the secretariats of the 17 local governments, and actually ordering or permitting elected chairman or suspended or hitherto suspended chairman to resume work and all of that. Now the issue, like I did say earlier, is pitting citizens against each other. This is the issue. Barrister Caleb Mutfang yesterday, through his Commissioner for Justice, Barrister Philemon Tafe, actually came out to say that the decision to actually permit, local government chairman to resume work when there's a court order actually, suspending, when there's a court order nullifying same, is actually, is actually not acceptable, and it could actually breed, tension in the state and things like that. And so NOLGE is actually predicating its decision to embark on an indefinite strike on the fact that there's a need to actually protect the well-being of the lives of its members, because the reopening of the local government secretariat, which seems to be generating tension across the state, could actually throw the state into an unsavory situation. And so for fear of some unpleasant eventualities, it's only necessary to embark on strike at the moment.
Juma, I'm sure you have a lot to say here, because looking at the fact that we're on the plateau.
Yeah, but to start with, the Commissioner of Police is Okoro Julius Awari.
At the moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
The problem there, financial misappropriation. The police was not wrong in sealing the place at the first instance, because it could have degenerated to something different, because relative peace is being recorded on the plateau of recent. So we wouldn't want to do things that will bring about crisis and problems, because if you can recall clearly, immediately the governor, His Excellency Caleb Mutfang, suspended the elected chairman and brought in the transition committee chairman. Immediately, some of the local government chairmen went to office. You can't have two captains in a ship. And they will not just come alone, they will come with their supporters. That could have generated to a serious crisis. But now, it has been said that they should reopen those secretariats.
Okay.
We wouldn't want NOLGE to play politics with this, because the state is suffering. They went on indefinite strike, but the good thing is that yesterday, after the local government chairman resumed back to work, everything was normal. Okay. I pray this day the governor will look at it and see how those issues raised against the local government chairman will be tackled, like issue of misappropriation of funds. We have the Crimes Commission that can handle that. Let them complete their tenure. But those issues should be looked at appropriately to avert any form of crisis on the plateau. You know, because I learned it's just a year and few months for them to round up their tenure.
By October 2024, their tenure should be rounding up.
That's a good time enough to have gone through the appropriate process of
leadership. And if I may just add to that, could be you see the whole issue. I think is, and like I did say in my preamble, political considerations or partisan considerations are actually interfering with virtually everything we do. You know, in this country, and I've always said there's a difference between governance and politics. When you do campaigns and do all of that, and eventually that is politics. But when you assume office as a governor, as a president, as whatever, it's time for governance, not politics anymore. And like Mr. Sam did say, Nolge should not actually assume a partisan posture as far as this whole issue is concerned. Yeah, we may appreciate the fact that there's a need to protect the lives of their members and all of that. But I at the same time, there have been suspicion that they have actually been induced somehow, materially or otherwise, to maybe embark on strike in a show of solidarity to the state government.
We wouldn't even want to look at that. But whatever the case is,
definitely
the local government chairman have resumed work, and there was
and
no
they will need the support of the workers.
And then let workers go back to their duty points. Let the state progress.
And that is it. Let the workers go back to their duties, and so that Plateau will progress.
Exactly.
So that things will continue to.
You have always reminded that if Plateau fails, we all fail. We don't want to fail.
Yes, we don't want to fail, and we will not fail.
God's willing.
Amen. So let's just go to our next headline. This one has to do with economy. Okay, we inherited bad economy. Putting it, and this is related to federal government and bad economy. And so I want to believe that Tinubu's administration must be aware, even before wanting to vie for the office of the president, and so having bad economy is something that every Nigeria at the moment know that we have bad economy. Definitely. But Tinubu is saying that they have inherited that. But is that some excuse that low performance or anything? So maybe we begin from.
Yeah, I think Tinubu should not be telling us that at the moment.
You don't want to hear that,
No, it's unacceptable.
Maybe Nigerians want to hear that.
No, because for you to want or desire to contest for that seat of president in Nigeria, you should know the problems.
You must have known.
Yes, and you have started something, a blueprint. If I can recall, I don't want to mention names, but some of the presidential candidates already have something on ground, even before the contest. So I want to believe Tinubu had that, even though I'm beginning to see some errors from his own side. Nominating minister and then dropping the minister, the issue of subsidy, recalling, and those kind of problems. The president should have been prepared before assuming this office. So whatever ways he will take or what he will do to mitigate these issues, he should just go ahead with it and stop telling us he inherited bad economy. Don't forget, Tinubu is APC, Buhari is APC. We see it as continuum.
Yes, instead.
Yes, so this is not, if it's opposition, we'll say maybe you are doing something to bring down or to the market what the past administration have done, but this is the same party, and you are very much.
So you expect that he must have known, and of course, like you rightly said, you pointed out, Mr. Danjuma. Now, for anyone to want to vie for any political office, he or she must have known the challenges and the demands, and
and started preparing.
It is because you even know that you have something to deliver, and that is why you're vying. So. Bad economy inherited is not an excuse.
It's not an excuse. That's what I'm saying.
Doro?
Yes, I agree with Mr. Samuel. It's not an excuse. We know. Well, the thing is, here in Nigeria, leaders love passing the buck, and it's something we discourage highly, because at the end of the day, if you keep the blame, if you keep playing the blame game, it doesn't take us anywhere. Now, when President Buhari came on board, I think he spent the entire first 4 years, actually passing the box, always, reminding Nigerians of the sort of economy, the sort of policy, the sort of, a country he had inherited from his predecessor, Goodluck Jonathan and things like that. But the issue here is this, at the end of the day, government is meant to actually address,
challenges
existing and emerging or recurrent problems. If there was no insecurity, if there was no corruption, if there was no bad economy, if there was no poverty, if there was no unemployment, Buhari wouldn't even have been elected president in 2015, and those were the things that informed his tripartite agenda of security, corruption, fighting against war against corruption, and then repositioning the economy and things like that. Now we do appreciate that yes, the economy is not in a good shape, or the economy wasn't in a good shape when President Tinubu actually came on board, because according to the president yesterday when he was addressing members of the FEC, members of his cabinet. Inflation was 24% when he came on board, and as we speak, headline inflation, I think, is around 24%. Food inflation has hit 24.79% or thereabouts. So we do appreciate that. Unemployment was about 36% when President Tinubu came on board. As we speak, unemployment is already 41%, and all of that. Poverty was, I think, 36% when he came on board. At the moment, as we speak, poverty has hit 40% and all of that. And according to statistics, about 133 million people are multidimensionally poor and all of these things. But again, if there weren't these problems, I think we wouldn't actually have seen Tinubu as, the better alternative. We wouldn't have given him so at the end of the day, I think we should start reminding each other of we inherited a bad economy and all of, and the issue here in fact is this: if you inherited a bad economy, like my co-discussant did say, what are you doing to actually fix it? Because at the end of the day, it's about fixing the problem, it's about solving the problem. This is the issue. For example, he did say something about appointment of ministers and all of that. Do you even have the right people to actually pull the right strings as far as addressing these issues are concerned? Because I also have an issue with the caliber of people. I'm not actually countenancing anyone, but I seem to have reservations about some of the names on the list of Tinubu's cabinet. It's like you want to comment.
Yes. The issue is that I think I have good news.
Okay.
The good news I have there, Juba, is this, because actually how this thing is coming up is like Tinubu is trying to give some sort of excuses to his, performing below expectations, and that is why he said we inherited bad economy. But this is my good news, and it falls on one headlines, and it says, incompetence, Tinubu ready to fire any minister, spokesperson.
Yeah, that is credited to a jury in Galari, president advisor on media and
this is good news somehow.
Yeah, it's good
it
news.
Means that even though we have inherited bad economy, and then this team that I have raised now to help, now let's do business together, the business of managing resources in Nigeria. If you're not going to perform, we would fire you. That's what it is. Is this not good news, Juba?
Yeah, it is. Besides setting a target or goal for his ministers, one of the points I'm looking at when he did talk about inheriting a bad economy is the issue of borrowing. He said there will be no borrowing. I like that. He's going to work. He laid emphasis on issue of creating stable macroeconomic environment. He talked about stable exchange rate. All these things will help in mitigating the issues that has led him to saying he inherited a bad economy, and setting a precedent, and then giving his ministers a set goal and target will help him to achieve a lot. And I hope he will match action with words, not just saying it. If at the end of the day we get a minister involved in one thing or another that will lead to his ministry or the entire country coming down, I think he should be fired with immediate effect.
Definitely.
And that will tell us that what he is saying is not just words, but he's matching it with actions.
We'll follow on that and to see actions match with words. Yes.
And then just to add now, let me go back to my previous stance on the issue of the bad economy which President Tinubu is saying he has actually inherited. We do, maybe he's just trying to let citizens appreciate the enormity of the challenge on his hands and things like that. But it shouldn't be an excuse for non-performance, like you rightly observed. Yeah, the economy was bad when he came on board, but that is his job. It's his job to actually fix it. This is the issue. But again, what is Tinubu doing to fix the issue? This is the question I am tempted to ask. He did actually wax really lyrical about the need to bring on board technocrats, people who are competent, people who possess the intellectual and moral wherewithal to be able to help pull the right strings to reposition the country and things like that. But when the names of the ministers eventually came out, Nigerians were disappointed. judged, by what they actually saw on the names and things like that. Some former governors, some political loyalists, and then a few technocrats and all of that. There are some people of integrity whom we went to believe, have what it takes to contribute to the nation building agenda. But some of the names, at the end of the day, some people even think that it's a mere compensation package for, party loyalists and things like. But my question here is even this. When President Tinubu came on board, the first thing he did say on the day he was being inaugurated was that subsidy was gone. Now, the removal of subsidy prematurely, actually has had even, opened a floodgate of many other problems: poverty, unemployment, inflation, and all of these issues. And apparently, President Tinubu, he even seems so confused. He doesn't even know what to do to address, some of these, consequences of subsidy removal and things like that. That's what I feel. And then secondly, even the issue of, cabinet, which, Mr. Sam did mention earlier. We had talked, a president who claims to have inherited a bad economy. If that is the case, and of course it is actually the case, but, with that being the case, right? Conventional wisdom will or should have dictated that there's a need for some sort of prudence, for some sort of proper management of lean resources and things like that. But here we are with a President Bola Tinubu, who has decided to increase the number of ministries from, I think, 42 or 3 to about 48. Right, and so where is the financial prudence? Just yesterday, I read in one of the newspapers that there's a national and United Nations General Assembly conference taking place sometimes this year in the headquarters in New York, and President Tinubu is actually saying that all public office holders who are not properly cleared, right, by the organizing body of this particular assembly should not even contemplate attending, the conference in the United States. And he said the idea is to actually, ensure prudence management of resources. In other words, he would not actually tolerate or condone, the sort of prodigality, the sort of wastage, the sort of extravagance, the sort of profligacy that characterize, the financial culture in Nigeria and things like that. But the question is, if you inherited 40 or 42 ministries and you decided to increase them to 48, are you not actually making government unnecessarily expensive? Yaradua did have just 30 ministries, right? Jonathan had just 36, Buhari had 36, thereabout, and increased them to 40, then 42, and eventually 44. Now we have 48 and all of that.
Mr. Dora, we have just a minute to get done with this segment. Do you have any words to round up this segment?
Yeah, what I want to say, as I said earlier, I want to see the president match action with words. If I remember clearly, President Olusegun Obasanjo sacked Fabian Osuji, a minister of education during his regime, for bribing the National Assembly committee members for passage of budget. The same thing, Buhari sacked Nanunu, Minister for Agriculture, if I can recall clearly. And yes, Power.
Minister of Power.
Yes, he sacked them. I want to see Tinubu match action with words. Let him tell Nigerians he is ready to work for Nigerians, and he will not tolerate corruption or any incompetence from any minister.
All right. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much, our listener and, of course, our viewer. We have come to the end of this segment, newspaper review. Just stay tuned. We'll be right back after this short time out. Thank you.
I was the head boy in my primary school, senior prefect and best graduating student in my secondary school, but drug abuse almost ruined my life.
I was on an average of 2 grams of cocaine per day.
I was taking 8 ampoules of pentazosine daily.
European shisha, cocaine.
I became a user, a dealer, and a gangster.
I saw other users drowning. I knew I didn't want to be like them, but I was already trapped.
My family disowned me.
My employment was terminated.
I sold my car, sold my house. I'll go out wealthy dressed and return shoeless, shirtless in exchange for drugs.
I was saying things that were not real, and I once stabbed myself because I felt something crawling under my skin.
I contacted NDLEA and started therapy.
I spent 3 months in therapy.
I spent 8 months.
It's easy to relapse, but your mind has to be stronger than the cravings.
Drugs does not love you. You are not the one using drugs. Drugs are the one using you. Say no to drug abuse.
Mr. Politician, it's good to see you again. It's been so long since you've been here. You had me thinking you were dead. How's your taxpayer mansion? How was your Mr. Politician?
HAUSA, it's good to know that you are still there with us on Unity 93.3 FM and of course TV. Yes, and this morning is lovely, this segment of Unity Trend, we call it Unity Transit. And of course, we have the people who knows it better and to address issues that we have at hand to handle it even on this segment. And so, ignorance is a deadly disease ever experienced and embattled in human history. A human activities ignorantly dispensed in is no doubt a major contributor of environmental degradations. Just metropolis is a cosmopolitan in nature, so the need to control the activities of citizens in Plateau State has become so paramount. And so to discuss the issues of indiscriminate dumping of refuse and indiscriminate parking in the city of Jos and of course buildings and so on and so forth, in the studios of Unity 93.3 FM this morning, I am honored and privileged to have Mr. Hat Bankard, the General Manager, Jos Metropolitan Development Board, JMDB. He is seated in the studio. Mr. Bankard, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. Good morning, viewers and listeners.
Oh, it's lovely. Of course, I cannot do this alone, and so I have in the studio my very own brother, if you like, that man who does it better, Mr. Danjuma Samuel Abo. Danjuma, once again.
Thank you, viewer, for being there, and listeners also. As I always say, without you, there is no us. Thank you for keeping faith with us.
Thank you for keeping faith with us, and the discussion begin. Okay, Mr. Hat. Now, the reason you are in the studios of Unity this morning is because we have had a series of programs, and in some of the editions, people have been calling our attentions so to know about issues of resident issues of concerns in Jos, particularly the issue of indiscriminate parking around terminus and other places. And then you also have where petty traders crowd the entire road, becoming difficult for other road users, to gain passage and so on and so forth. And so, for this reason, we thought it's very good to have someone like you, an authority who knows it better in that area. Let's see how we can address such issues. But before we go into that, let's get to know what JMDB is all about.
Thank you very much, and once more, it's nice to be here.
Thank you.
I remain Architect Hart Bankat, General Manager of JMDB, Jos Metropolitan Development Board. By the special grace of God, the institution empowered and enabled to make sure we develop, plan, and make sure that Plateau regains its beauty. Even though JMDB has been in existence for a very long time, since the edict that was established in 1974, but a lot has gone wrong, and I'm happy you're highlighting some of these things, because those are issues we're actually getting to deal with. We've been having series of consultations, and we are dealing with people, trying to enlighten people. Part of that is the media tour, in which I'm going to enlighten people and make them understand that, look, these things don't have to be the way they are. They weren't meant to be this way. This city was planned to be a beautiful city, but unfortunately we've abused it. And part of the ongoing consultations we've had has exposed us to a whole lot of things. We've realized that there are a lot of markets that are unoccupied, and we still have traders on the road. We've realized that there are a lot of people that do not follow the planning laws. Most buildings don't even have approvals to start with. And most institutions, even faith-based institutions, feel it's just a right to just do what you want to do when you want to do it without the necessary approvals, which has ended up distorting the master plan in so many ways.
Okay.
And in our attempt to redeem it, is why we're going into consultations to make people understand that we as a people can do better. We as a people can make our city beautiful. We as a people can make our city the tourist destination it's meant to be. And part of doing that is to see how we're going to make alternatives for these people. We will have used the animalistic approach, but based on our review, we've seen that it does not help. You get all the force, you drive people out today, tomorrow they are back on the streets claiming they don't have where to go. There are markets that have been open and people have not occupied them. But we understand, because we have gone down to speak with the people. I take drives at times personally to just discuss and get the pulse from people directly. And I think one of the things I've learned is people are scared of going into markets because they feel if they are not on the road, their goods will not be bought. But I have assured them, and I will continue to assure them, that by the special grace of God, once we're able to take them to where they ought to be and provide all the spaces, they will still have market, because we will channel the whole traffic and resources to go to that place to make sure it functions. You mustn't stay on the road to buy things. Anybody staying on the road to buy or do things is quite unfortunate, but we're handling that, and by the special grace of God, very soon. For the traffic situation in Jos, I want to plead with our people to please bear with us. We want to find permanent solutions.
Okay.
So right now we're in the review of looking for different sites to try to see where we could allocate parks, for Keke Napep, for taxis, for buses, and then defined routes in which they could go through, so that we can be able to control the traffic management system in the state.
Right.
So that we don't have people just going left, right, and center, doing nothing, and then congesting the city. And then for the traders and marketers, I'm supposed to see the marketers and traders tomorrow or next, and I'm hoping to discuss with them. I told them, I said, in as much as government is sympathetic, for now we'll also want to plead with you to be nice with us. Give us back our roads.
All right. Oh, thank you, Mr. Bankat. Before then, Jima will begin to give you some a kind of bulldozing questions. I still have, because
I'm very ready for that.
Yes, of course, I can see. Mr. Bankat.
Yeah.
Now, you made mention of traders.
Yes.
Wanting to just leave the appropriate structures raised concerning, for their businesses, yes, and not coming to the roadside only for the feelings that, or for fears of maybe, having low patronage if they will be at the appropriate or designated structures. Now, you have a satellite market. One of the reasons satellite markets, some would say even on air, is that is security purpose, security reasons. And so you have some populations of the citizenry not too certain about the security of having to go to satellite market along Rukuba Road there. Now, can you assure them of security because yes, of course, just last week, one of our guests made mention of why Settler Market, you have a lot of shops there, and they're all vacant. And this is supposedly, it's supposed to take care of a larger portion of those who crowd our roadside. Do you have anything to, say around this?
I love this question very well because I keep asking people who did this to us. We did it to ourselves. Now we have a backlog of hate that we propagated over a period of time that we are beginning to reap the effects of it. I told someone yesterday, I was like, you find a child who was born between 99 to 2000, the only thing he knows is hate, because he was groomed in a society whereby they tell you, if you cross to Angonrogo, you're on your own, if you cross to Angonrokuba, you're on your own. And there was no deliberate effort made, even in our curriculums, to see that we change this and then change the mindset of our people. And it's quite unfortunate. The entire killings that have happened in Plateau State and the negative image that has been given to Plateau State has not been redeemed in any way, because we as a people have not deliberately made efforts to do that. And I keep giving insights with Rwanda. Rwanda had a genocide of over 1 million people being killed. We've never recorded that in Plateau State. Why is our story different? Today, Rwanda is the fastest growing city in Africa, is the fastest growing economy, and one of the smartest cities in Africa. So why do we keep using that narrative? And that's one thing I want to keep assuring people. I have no right to discuss about security because security matters do not involve me. But one thing I'm certain is, if we as a people decide, why must we continue to be doing this to ourselves? Because we are doing it to ourselves. Logically, look at it. Dubai is a full Sharia state, but it's the #1 tourist destination in the world. If you ask anybody where you want to go to, he wants to go to Dubai.
Like one of our callers now called and said the last time he was in Dubai, he had his night in the mosque. He's a Christian. Kingsley, yes.
Of course. And then you go, you see institutions working, you see government working. Let me bust your brain a bit. Saudi Arabia is spending 20 billion in Egypt to build a Saudi Arabia city, for people to just have a feel of what it's like to be in Saudi Arabia and go to Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is moving from faith-based tourism to now a tourist destination of the world, trying to expand and invite people to come into it. Now, are we happy with the way we are living like animals, and then we just decide to choke ourselves in places because of our fears? What are really the fears that we can come out and address? These are sensitive issues that people will want to dilly-dally and want to run away from, but whether we like it or not, we have to tell ourselves the truth. Today, I want to bring roads. I want to develop this area, and then you find people building indiscriminately. Now, if I say I'm going to start demolishing a lot of houses, you realize that over 90% of the houses here are going to be going down. Why? Simply because somebody illegally or legally acquired land, and then without approvals, without recourse to the master plan, decided to build what he wants to build. You have now expanded the buildings to go to a point. Let me give you an insight now. We have a lot of land to be developed. We're talking about the Greater Jos Master Plan, and the layout is made up of about 10 sectors. The entire Jos Bukuru metropolis, as you know it, is only existing on 2 sectors. Now, what stops us from expanding the layouts and having a very quality sense of life for our people? You have people now building on rocks indiscriminately, traveling and going everywhere. I'm coming to that because every single building in Plateau State that has gone on illegally, I might not promise you I'll demolish everything, but you have to pay us what's due to government. Because one thing I want to assure Plateau people is Plateau must work, whether we like it or not. And if we don't do it, somebody will do it. But we are determined to do it. And under the mandate of His Excellency, we are determined to implement the Greater Jos Master Plan with no recourse to anybody. Right now, we are marking from airport all the way to here, Bauchi Road, and we are marking from Old Airport to Bukuru Express. We are first of all establishing our building lines on the federal and state roads. I want people to understand and be careful, because the fact that you can't make an illegality legality. So if you've done wrong, we'll give room for people to make amends and do the needful. But if you want us to serve you as a people, as a government, to deliver on the mandate you've given to us, then you have to make the environment enabling for us. We have to provide roads, we have to provide water, we have to provide light and basic infrastructure for our people. And we can't do that if we don't tax our people to pay adequately.
Oh, thank you very much. Benjamin.
Yeah, Architect, I would like to start by congratulating you on your appointment as the General Manager of JMTB.
Thank you very much.
And I would like also to salute His Excellency, Barrister Caleb Mutfang, for appointing a young man, not just a young man, but a young man with capacity. You have delved into the issue of market and whatnot, but I want to start from the most important, which is a road. We have issues, left, right, and center, potholes everywhere. You can't drive smoothly for 5 minutes. What are you doing to resolve these issues? You are new in that office, but I'm sure you've gotten your plans already tabled. How are you trying to work on that? And then areas whereby there is no, even this morning we received a call from Genta with issue of road, Utan issue of road, Faringada issue of road. Ekwasa Bochi Road now, we learned someone is doing that from his own pocket. Now with you here this morning, I would want you to assure the ordinary Plateau citizen, because you have been saddled with the responsibility of beautifying Jos. Let me not even use Plateau State, let me use Jos. To beautify Jos, what are the things you have in place to see that the ordinary man moves around without this challenging issue?
You didn't add that you don't have road to your studio.
Yes, of course.
I don't want to be selfish.
No, and I want to use that as a basis because the reason why road cannot come to your studio right now is even if government makes attempt, there are a lot of illegal buildings on the road.
Okay.
A lot of people build irregularly.
So you're starting with us.
There's no cutouts. I'm not threatening you.
No, it's not a threat.
I'm only telling you the basic
Yes,
situation.
it's to address it.
Now, a lot of people build indiscriminately. There is no access. There are no laybacks. And as it is now, if we are to take the setbacks for your road now to now do a road to this studio, for instance, you can imagine how funny the road is going to look. Because you have to take a left, a right, trying to manipulate through buildings and try to get here. Now, that's the exact situation of the areas you've called. Now, they've distorted the master plan and distorted what we're supposed to have been. And getting access and granting access. Just yesterday, I gave directives in the office for a building to be demolished in Tudunwada. Someone is busy building a road that has been cut out by government to be done. The contract was awarded. The project is stalled for now. And then somebody is building in the middle of the road. Now, if you leave that to linger now, before you know it, what is going to happen is other people are going to now build. Then you start thinking of manipulating. Now, we're going to do everything possible as a responsible government to make sure we provide the enabling environment. And part of it is what I just said earlier. We're marking out building lines. Where you've distorted our roads, we'll try as much as possible to reclaim what we can reclaim. And once we do that, it gives room for us to be able to plan adequately and say, okay, let us have access here. Let us interconnect this area, this street, this crescent, this close. So that by the time we're able to do that, let us have a plan. Very soon, once we're done with the consultations, we're going to go into housing remuneration. And part of the plan of the housing remuneration is to identify houses that have been duly approved and houses that were not approved. Where government can be able to give concessions, we'll give concessions. Where we can't, what we'll have to do it to create the roads. Because we want to advise people who are developing. While you are developing, there are basic questions you should ask. Is there provision for drainage? Is there provision for roads? Where is the road? So that people don't, like the situation we're having now, a local will go and sell a land to you and tell you, this is my land from here to the road. Not making reference to the fact that there's a government-approved setback for every type of road, which should be taken off it. And if people continue doing that in the past, it's okay. Where we can help, we'll help. But for the new plateau we are creating, if you are buying land, make sure provisions are made for those things. Because if they are not made, you can't do things illegally and expect government to legally put taxpayers' money into working for you. We're going to work for everybody and we're going to provide the enabling environment for everybody to try. But people must also cooperate with us to give us the basics we need to be able to help.
All right, in line with that, Jia, what are the measures? Do you have a compensation plan for those, just like you mentioned, someone's house will be demolished? Do you have compensation plan for such cases? That's one. Secondly, how do you notify? Do you give notice to people that would be evacuated or vacated or moved or removed, whatever term you may want to use? What are the terms you give them as in notice? How long? Would they have enough time to get a place or move or do something? Because that's the complaint you get every day. When people are vacated, they say they were not told that we'll be living here. They just came one night with bulldozer. And how long do you give? And then are there compensation plans? Like the person you'll be demolishing his house, is there a place you're moving him to or something? Can we know that?
I said there's no legality to illegality.
Okay.
It's an existing road that government has awarded and is building. And you've seen the road. And then you bought it and built on it. Why am I compensating
Zero compensation.
Why am I compensating you?
Okay.
If you bought your land legally, you have your documents, and then we need to create access. We can discuss with you, pay compensation, and create access to move. But when you do things illegally and expect that government will now, what are we compensating you for? You knew that it was wrong and you went ahead and did it. You had money to build a house. You had money to buy land. You had money to buy property, but you did not have money to seek government's approval. Now, we don't operate animalistically as if we just wake up and then take actions. There are usually stop work orders we give. And stop work orders take 21 days, within which you are expected to come, produce your documents for us to verify. Once we verify that you got all the necessary approvals, you can get the go-ahead. Once we verify that you didn't get it, if it's within the scope of the board's approval, we will now approve for you, and then you pay for condemnation and pay for other levies that you're supposed to pay and allow you to continue. But if it's not supposed to be, then we give you demolition notice.
How long?
7 days.
Wow.
7 days?
Yes, 7 days.
Okay.
On behalf of the ordinary citizen, don't you think that is too short a time for someone to be given notice?
On behalf of the ordinary citizen, don't you think it's unfair for you asking me to create roads and do these things for people, and then people are not creating their venue?
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, I think I'll take it from here, especially because there are other issues.
He has the capacity.
Yes, of course, he has the capacity, and we can see that. Earlier on, architect, you made mention of not wanting to take the approach, being animalistic in addressing some of these issues. But of course, this one seemed to be an urgent, something that needs an urgent attention. When you have traders, of course, crowding the entire road, this can be very dangerous because their lives even is at stake, because anything can happen. Road users, you cannot tell. So, but even this, I don't know. And then again, you just put it together because of our time. This indiscriminate, disposal of refuse as well. So, is this within your jurisdictions? What have you to say around this?
Okay, first with the traders, before I go into the disposal of waste. With the traders, just like I said, and he rightly observed earlier on, people complain that you just wake up one day and then you take actions. That's why I told you we are holding consultations. We are sitting with the Marketers and Traders Union. We are sitting with the Igbo community. We are sitting with the National Union of Road Transport Workers. We are sitting with the Keke Napep operators.
Great.
And we are trying to see so that we get to be on the same page. What are your problems?
Why?
What are your solutions?
Why have you
okay, these are the expectations of government. Can we achieve this? Now, while we are noting that and doing all we can within our own limits to be able to provide that for them, we are also telling them this is what we want from you, and informing them to tell their traders this is what we also expect from you. So once we are done with those consultations, once we are done speaking with the people, if it doesn't yield any result, then we'll have to take back our streets. That's the gospel truth for the safety of their lives and for the sanctity of our state. That's very sacrosanct. And then for the waste disposal, that's actually the role of PEPSA. And I think for a while they've been doing a very good job, because since His Excellency came on board, they've been trying as much as possible to evacuate. But we also have to change our mentality as a people. In as much as government is trying its best to clear these things, we should also be responsible enough to be able to now put some of these things in place in order so that we don't just dump refuse anyhow and anywhere we feel like. And we are working on some things, and I'm sure the Ministry of Environment and PEPSA are also working on it, on some ways of renewing waste, and then trying to see how we can now turn that waste into money.
Okay, very quickly, architect, we have buildings built along waterways, and then we're having issues of flooding and all that. And then we also have issues where you have buildings along high tensions, that. So do you have anything that guides towards this?
There's a standard guide. That's why I told you there's no illegality to legality. There's no legality to illegality, sorry. There's a standard setback for every type of high tension wire, depending on the type, from 330 to 110 kVA. There is a standard setback that you must give. From rail lines, there's a standard setback.
From rail lines?
From major roads, trunk A, trunk B, trunk C, trunk D roads, there are all setbacks that must be minimum. for these things. And then one of the major problems is what we have been saying and repeating. Indiscriminate building and lack of planning has led to most of this flooding. Plateau is a hill, ordinarily. Yeah, by the virtue of where we occupy in this country, we're not even supposed to have flooding. But because people build indiscriminately and decide to block all the channels, block all the ways, we are beginning to have flooding. It is man-made flood. It is not a natural flood. And that's why I'm saying, like, for instance, now someone builds his house on waterway, you say I pay him compensation for what? Didn't you see the water before building your house?
All right.
Or you saw the rail line and then you went to build next to the rail line, or you saw a 330 kVA transmission line, you went to build under it.
That is very careless, I must say.
So you can't compensate for that.
Okay, regarding the issue of drainages and whatnot, there is this disturbing headline regarding the Lagdo Dam opening from Cameroon, the flood issue. Plateau is one of the prone states. Receiving the news, did you feel like bringing up any measure that will help mitigate this issue, or you feel just will not be part of it? Especially issue of drainages. If you move around your city now, issue of people dump refuse in their gutters, no waterways, nothing. And some, because there are, for now, by the citizens, they don't have defined places to dump refugees, so they create places anyhow, and you find out that they are mostly in or on waterways, that we are now finding it difficult to have waters running. With this flood coming now, what do you have to say regarding that?
Yeah, I think we are working towards that, and we've been proactive about it. Once His Excellency comes back now, we'll be able to do something, because we've written a memo for desilting and clearing of drainages, and also working on some points for erosion control to be able to tackle some of those matters. So once we're able to clear it, I think it will help us a bit.
Do you have penalties for this kind of people? Because someone complained that in their area, especially Saturdays, you find people not going out for the sanitation thing. You know, the places are terrible because their areas are not covered, maybe because the people supervising the sanitation thing cannot go into their areas. So you find it that it's difficult for them to clean their areas. From your office, do you have agents that go around just like you do? And that's why I was happy to receive the news of your appointment, because as a youth, we normally walk sometimes with Kulbi around town to see what is happening based on complaints from people. You have just confirmed you do that. Do you have agents that go around, especially this, in HAUSA we call it lungu lungu, to know what is happening so that you get first-hand information? And then the penalties for those not abiding by the rules.
I started earlier on with a statement. Who did this to us? Now we need to change our orientation as a people. Must government keep going after you and flogging you to clean your own house?
Before you clean your own house.
Must government tell you to clear your own drainages? Must government tell you to be clean? It's a thing of shame that for us as human beings, we are being forced to have to do things. That's why you see His Excellency has been very particular about the fact that we need to move Plateau State from a poverty mindset to a prosperous mindset. Until you start thinking of it and dreaming about it, you cannot achieve it. And for us, we are seeing it. We are seeing where we want Plateau to be. We are seeing where we want Plateau to achieve. And we're calling on the people to join us and collaborate so that it will be in unison. If not, we will continue doing what we can do, develop and work with people who want to develop. But you can't force us to come back and remain where you are because you've simply chosen not to move.
Okay. Architect, we will be going on a break in a minute, but you may need to say this also about soccerways.
Yeah.
Is that something you have to mention? Because a lot of people don't seem to have one, and even if they do, and their water sources, you know, anything to say in a minute, please.
That's why I told you, I said a lot of people have done a lot of things without approvals, because if your building has had the approval, all those drawings will have been submitted and it will have been approved. So when you see all those things, just know that there are illegal structures that are existing within the urban area.
Oh, that is lovely, Architect, and it's good to have you already.
Thank you very
Architect,
much.
you're going to be in the studio because I'm sure our callers will begin to throw in their questions and concerns, and I'm sure you are capable to answer all of their questions. And at this point, we'll go on a short break. Our listener and, of course, our viewer, stay tuned. We'll be right back. Thank you.
Mr. Politician, it's good to see you again. It's been so long since you've been here. You had me thinking you were dead. How's your taxpayer mansion? How was your...
Please pay attention. It starts from the foundation. Everybody needs somebody. Everybody needs some love. You turn a blind eye and care nothing less. Say it's just business, all about the money. You are so unbothered as long as they pay. Say it's just business, all about the money. You know they're on a fast lane, but you've got business to run. So you look away, you look away.
Thank you very much for still being tuned to Unity 93.3 FM in the city of Jos, Plateau State. Of course, don't forget, whenever Plateau State is being mentioned, you quickly should remember home of peace and tourism. And picking from the word tourism there, you would believe that those of you whom have been with us even from the very first segment of our discussion, you will know we have somebody who is committed and ready to ensure that that aspect of tourism is looked into by ensuring everybody does what is right. Our human activities are channeled towards the right status, of course. Thank you so much. Benjamin Samuel Abo has been in the studio with me, and the general manager, JMDB, is in the studio. Architect Bankard. Architect, it's lovely. Before we, we sign in again for this segment, we were actually just talking about should there be any incidents of fire, incident. The roads, the buildings, are there to temper with every effort to rescue, or should there be any labor, an expectant mother going through labor, and then there is need to rush, and then the roads are not helping us at all. So maybe you just tell us what is expected of citizens to ensure that your plans as Plateau works before we begin to receive our calls. Our listener, of course, just give us just 2 minutes. We'll be right back and then begin to pick your calls. But just let architects respond.
Thank you very much. I think I've always insisted that governance is a collaborative effort, and people should also understand that government cannot do it all. I come from the private sector where we do virtually almost everything for ourselves, but now we are tasked with the responsibility of doing things for people. But one of the things we've learned, where I used to stay in Abuja, we had no road, but it was a layout. Now, what we did was we taxed ourselves as a community. We provided
as a community.
We provided drainages. When we provided drainages, subsequently we kept contributing until we tarred the whole estate. Now, people can start doing that and putting in community efforts. Once we start putting in efforts, we can hold government responsible and accountable, because once we provide infrastructure that government does not provide, we determine the quality, we determine the usage, and we determine what can be done. But you see, if we decide today with what is coming in and trickling in, people are not paying their revenue, people are not paying their taxes, we are hardly generating what we are supposed to generate. More than 70% of the houses in Jos are not even registered to be existing. If they had paid for those things, definitely we would have been empowered and bold enough to provide for those infrastructure and facilities. But with the little that is coming in, with the chunk of salaries, with the chunk of capital development that is supposed to be done, everybody wants to do something. So we need to come in unison with our people to have that basic understanding that, look, what we can do as a people, let's do. What government will do for us, government will basically do. Government can provide the major arteries for all the communities, then the communities can look for the smaller ones.
Oh, thank you very much. What government can do, government would do. And what we should do as a community, that too, we should be serious and then get to doing them even right now. So this is the time for you to call us, and then let's hear from you. And the number to join is 070-3235-3315. And if you call, just stick to we have our in-house star here where we don't, say comments that are capable of, jeopardizing the relative peace being enjoyed on the plateau. And so there is no need to confront anyone here. And comments made on this platform are not in any way the position of Unity 93.3 FM. You can also go to Unity Radio FM/TV just to throw in your comments on our Facebook page. And at the appropriate time, Danjuma will read those. Hello, good morning. Oh, thank you. Who is on the line this morning? What's the name?
My name is Tafe. I'm calling from Angologo.
Okay, it's good to have you from Angologo. You have a minute, please.
Yeah, I think I want to start by appreciating the managing director of this wonderful agency.
Yes.
And I think it's a very young and vibrant young youth that has come to redefine this place.
Okay.
Actually, the major for this age was entirely people like this. Because we have been going to other cities like Adina, like Gombe, like Bauchi, like Leaders, and we have been seeing infrastructural development. We have been seeing how the cities are being cleaned and sanitized. We cannot allow illegal structures to fall in the cities.
Yes.
When you go to Terminus, when you go to Pokori, when you go to other places, you discover that it's just changing. And it is needed people that will come and be away with illegal structures. This unity is more or less a garrison.
All right.
The garrison command of other agencies that need to come together to polish this state and all this illegal, indiscriminate dumping of refuse.
Thank you.
Indiscriminate parking, indiscriminate garage and park where people park anyhow.
Yes.
Check people anyhow, drop people anyhow, without regard to authority, without following the due process.
Thank you very much.
And definitely we must be helping and we must support him. And secondly, we have to come up with this program in a language that people will understand in our native languages so that the information will be spread.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We have an addition. Jirgin Unity, that is a HAUSA speaking program. So thank you very much.
I'm sure we'll even partner with JMDB.
Yes.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Thank you very much, Kubi. I greet all of you there.
Oh, we appreciate it.
I'm Pastor Eric from Refuge.
Pastor Eric, it's good to have you once again on this segment.
Thank you very much.
A minute, please.
Leadership is leading. And you must look back to see whether the people you are leading is following. This analysis, because of what your guests have said in the studio. You see, issues that borders on our environment is no more what should be on paper or discussion on the media only. Proper action needs to be carried out immediately. One few days rain 2 days ago fell within plateau and the environment. I moved around between these refuge and I saw that our major problem is gutters.
Yes, drainage.
We build without giving attention to gutter. And environment is flooded. The things they throw here and there exposed to the streets. Do you know that you could not pass Old Airport, Air Force Junction, inside Article Street, Guratop environment and all the rest? You question yourself, those who the government gave contracts, what did they do in providing gutter along with the roads they built? Sometimes when you check, you find out that there is payment for gutter, and while building the road, they should make the gutter.
Yes.
But it is not captured because project is not monitored by the government.
Thank you.
When they give it out, they leave it to lie fallow. My brother and your guest in the studio.
Yes.
I want to urge you to carry out action.
Thank you.
There is a lot of work in that position.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate. Okay. I still emphasizing on the need to carry out actions, not just words. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Oh, thank you very much.
Mr. Deumi calling from Bochum.
Amen to that, Mr. Deumi.
Thank you very much. I greet your guest in the studio where we continue to bless you people.
Amen. Amen.
You see, my take is on this house being built. Under that, houses that will be built under high tension electricity. I just want your guest to just shed more light on it, because you see people having houses that even the high tension is even being kept inside the same compound that person is living. You see, it's very risky. And again, please, I want your guest to respond on the issue of this flood. You will see that situation where people will buy land. You see the seller of that land telling you that even when this place of the riverine area too is part of your land. You see, there is that time that we need to do the needful, especially our architects, because they need to do the needful. Sometimes you just see someone just come and start building house. Maybe due to the high cost of architecture, that was why people don't even engage in calling architects to work on this issue. So I just want them to shed more light. How can they assist us on these houses built on high tension?
All right.
Thank you and God bless.
Thank you very much, Mr. Adomi, our regular caller there, one of our major contributors on Unity Train. If you want to be a part, 070-3235-3315, and you'll be live. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Oh, thank you very much. We can Abdullah Rocky Boy, you're welcome.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Actually, welcome on board.
Thank you.
And you have a lot of work to do in Plateau.
You have a lot of
work. Possible days and with the needful. Especially, pressure is in our area that is dangerous. And during sanitation is hardly for you to see them going around in the area in order to control people. It's hardly for you to see them. So please, you have a lot of work to do. The Almighty Allah guide you.
Amen. Thank you very much. Abdullahi Rocky Boy, a peace ambassador there. People, giving themselves advocacy angle in order to make sure Plateau becomes that Plateau of our dreams. Danjuma, I think we'll let you read some of the comments that we have.
Okay, thank you, listener, for staying tuned to this favorite dial of yours. We'll take a few comments from the Facebook page. Appreciations will come later. The GM, a lot of appreciations for you for coming on the program. I'll start with this one. Good morning, Kubi, Danjuma, Shaibudoro. Actually, you guys are doing a great job. Keep it up. I'm watching you live from Rikos, Yan Cementi. Actually, people are really suffering in this country. Yesterday, in Bayelsa, people broke up government house palliative due to hardship. Gaskiya is too much, but God is answering our prayers. Planning is for the right people at the right time and at the right place. I'm urging the right people of Plateau to give the planning authority, that's JMTB, the necessary cooperation that is required for them, so that at the end, our environment will be better. That's from Honorable Balamu Azu. Good morning. We appreciate your wonderful program. Keep it up. God bless you. Good morning, the crew. For how long will APC government keep blame game on? God bless the JMDB boss to succeed so that we can have sound environment. Prayers for you, architect. Amen. From Murtala Yayame Igia, good morning to you all. We always appreciate your good work you're doing. Please keep it up. God bless Nigeria, Plateau State. Have a great day from Murtala Yayame Igia Enshanu. Good morning, everyone. I want to believe that that's Bola Ahmed Tinubu, I believe, knows the stage of the economy before coming in. So please, we don't want all this blame game of previous administration. As a matter of urgency, he should do the needful as the economy is biting really hard. Great work. Lastly, Asobagun Francis says, it's very unfortunate that our state, Plateau State, refused to learn from experience. Have gone many steps backwards in many areas. non-performance at the local government level, the unproductivity, elected chairmen and councillors, suspension, closure of the local government, court judgment. All this is for the progress of the state. What the government is doing is to see that the state progresses. Whatever was done wrongly in the past, I want to believe we can throw that to the past, and let's see how we can support the government of the day to see that the state is taking forward. Thank you for that. I'll take more later. You can take it from there, Kobe.
Well, thank you. If you want to be a part of it, please, the number to join us is 070-3235-3315. At this point, we'll pick a few more, and then we'll let architects to respond to some of these calls. And if you want to also send us an SMS, you can do that via 0808-478-9 in 4 places. That's the line to send an SMS. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Oh, thank you very much. Who's on the line?
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Fina. I'm calling you from Lasisi.
The man from Lasisi. It's good to have you this
morning. It's nice that we have an architect here, because the government has not done the right thing in putting either engineer or an architect. So what about this type of place where you find people that are slaughtering animals on anyhow? Then where and how and where are we going to channel our advices? Then we are going to give it to the JMDB manager, and I hope he's going to collaborate with Tafe and other this commissioner of health and other things. Where are we going to channel our advices so that if we can able to come? I hope that he's going to collaborate with religious leaders and our traditional rulers. And I hope that he's going to meeting the training this thing so that the thing will go perfectly. May God continue to bless.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. The man from Lasisi there is trying to make sure that synergy working together from... Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Oh, thank you very much. Who's on the line?
Yeah, thank you very much. My name is Sadiq Umar. I'm calling from TC and Junction.
I was just waiting for your call, Sadiq. You have a minute, please.
Thank you. I want to commend the general manager of the GMDB. Actually, if there is any appointment that Plateau State is lucky of, is the general manager of GMDB.
Oh, wow.
Seeing how he's doing up and doing in terms of bringing development, especially how he's media friendly. If I could remember, there is a program in the sister station whereby he just shares his name and we go there to clarify some issues. So that's how the leadership is supposed to be. So we are calling on the people also to cooperate, because we know the Plateau State is just, especially the capital, because of the kind of dump that they are throwing away in various places, which in this coming up administration we have seen that they are start packing it. So we are calling on the general manager to keep on keeping Plateau clean, and as he said, the master plan of Plateau State is something that is very, very important. Seeing just as a capital, we're not supposed to be having building anyhow. So we are hoping that people will cooperate with him to bring the development that we need in Plateau.
Oh, thank you very much. I think we'll begin to
before you respond,
to turn to you.
Regarding question of who do they get to, there is this message from Mariam Muhammad from ZINARIYA. Good morning, our able presenters and the guests. We really appreciate you. I'm appealing to the GMDB on behalf of the community of ZINARIYA, especially behind Sharna Place, to come around for inspection with regards sanitation, because honestly the situation there is very bad. Please give out a contact for more or agency where we can reach. That's from Mariam from ZINARIYA. And lastly, architect, I would also, in your response, I would like you to touch these red points. Front of Old Jude, Keke, the market, and then Dadinkowa, overhead bridge, parking of trucks, and I think there's also Gadabu, then Faringada market, the cars, the parking, the market. I would like you to touch on that also as you respond. Thank you.
Please, architect.
Yes, sir.
Please just go on. You have a lot to respond. It's all yours now. So please.
First and foremost, I would like to thank our listeners and viewers for the commendations. But we seek more of cooperation than commendations right now, because we have a lot of work to do, and we hope that we're going to cooperate with the citizens to achieve what we want to achieve. And then for Pastor Eric, I'm very happy that he made an observation with Rayfield. I did my undergraduate studies those days on Rayfield. And I'm sorry to say, but Rayfield is a big man slum. And part of the things we're going to amend is to make sure that we make those arrangements and see that those things are being revived, because that's where our seat of power is. And so for anybody who knows, in the last few days, I think a lot of buildings have been marked in Rayfield. We're establishing the building lines, and anything illegal along that part will be taken off. Then for houses under high tension said by Adewumi, I think we've answered that. And by the special grace of God, the indiscriminate buildings using quacks and all that will be sorted out, because part of the negotiations we're having and the consultations is sitting with the various professional bodies. And once we're done sitting with them, we're going to outline our programs in which is going to cover for each and every one of them, make all of them useful and very, very sensitive to whatever they're doing. For Ambassador Abdullahi, yes, I will talk to the GM in PEPSA and make him understand. And like I said, we are like the general police. We help in enforcement. I know that there are a lot of problems, mostly when it comes to staffing at the moment. But His Excellency is working on certain things that will be done. And once they are empowered and the necessary facilities are provided, I'm sure they'll be able to cover for more areas. For Lasisi, who said, I said it earlier on, he was talking about rearing animals and then advices. For rearing animals, I said a lot of people have distorted the master plan. Initially put in place, and then it had expired, and then the new master plan, which is about to expire, has been bastardized and not be implemented, even though we want to revalidate it and then see how we can extend that. But once we are done with our plans, I can assure you that animals and humans will not exist in the same place, because based on the new master plan, where it's designated for farming is for farming, where it's designated for residential area is for residential area, where it's commercial is commercial, where it's industrial is industrial, and those things will be followed keenly. For advices, we are always open. That's why as much as we're still working on the official website, which was not existing, and then the social media handles for JMDB, which are being worked on at the moment, I use my personal social media handles to listen to people, take advices, and then make necessary contributions where necessary. So you can always reach me at HAJARKU on all social media platforms. Then we continue to engage youths. Those are our primary constituency. We will not leave them, and we always hear the advice from our traditional rulers. And we also have advice for them, because while we're ongoing with this consultation, we're also reaching out to them, because one of the major problems we're having is usually from the ward heads, who usually just sign documents to people indiscriminately and give them to process without having access or recourse to proper layouts. Very soon, when we are done with amending our laws, it will be a law that if you are selling anything, you have to come and check the master plan and be sure that it is within the master plan, even though we are not laying claim to your ancestral lands, but we have a general layout of whatever must exist in this state to be followed. So for Mariam, I will say it's very dangerous, like bringing a masquerade out. I'll come to ZINARIYA, but she should know that while I'm coming to ZINARIYA to check for the inspection and sanitation, I'll also check if the houses are duly registered and approved. So once I come out to do that and then it's not approved, then I'm sorry, they will have to go down. For that Inkowa, Laranto and Gadaview, I want to assure you we are working on getting designated trailer parks in Maraban Jama, Hawen Kibo, Ochi Road, and then Zaria Road. Once we were able to do that, we're in talks with some locals for the lands, and we're in talks also with some investors who might be able to pick up one or two of them to develop. Once we're able to do that, I want to find a permanent solution to those things, so that we stop having to drag people, they come back, drag them, they come back. And once we are done with that, we'll also limit the hours of operations of trucks into the town.
Okay, that's
our traffic.
That's lovely. That's lovely. Commendable. Your final word. We have just 2 minutes to be out of here.
I want to say we're always accessible, and we're always grateful to Plateau people, and we seek their cooperation to be able to make Plateau beautiful and take it back to its lost glory.
Oh, thank you very much, Architect and General Manager JMDB, for being here. Benjamin, any final words, please?
Yeah, as I always say, without the listener and viewer, there is no us. So I would like to appreciate the following people quickly. Shuaib Kaura, Ismail Abdullahi, Zanna's photography, Murtala Yayame Igia, Charity Hali, Ibrahim Idris, Badamasi, Ion CY, Aminu Abdullahi Shaibu, Honorable Balam Azu Mohammed Y, Musa Abdullahi Suleiman, Aminu Maihoma, Sani Banda, Chen Zhuang, Mohammed, MK Abubakar, Yaron Jasawa, Mariam Dasuki Nakande, Benge, Mushitar Osombu, Emmanuel, Yusuf Lawan Sani Garba Nahali, Kamba Kebi, Abdul Aziz Haruna, General El Hassan Mohammed Al Hassan. Thank you for being there always. We really appreciate you. I remain yours truly, Danjuma Samuel Agodu. Have a blessed day.
And of course, the only SMS we have today coming, it's good morning, Gulbi, Danjuma and GM, and to all intelligent viewers and listener, I wish you the best. The problem is, why do we say that which we do not do? Most hateful is it with Allah that we say that which we do not do. May God give us the strong will to do what we say. Amen. This one is coming from Hassan Garba. And thank you so much, our listener. You have been the reason for which we have thought it wise to invite the GM in the studio today. If you will always be there, it means you will set a path for us for a better plateau. And thank you so much for always being there. Tomorrow is going to be another beautiful day. Just do us a favor and tune to Unity 93.3 FM and TV, of course. Thank you. Beatrice Adamu Ije remains my name. Let's do this tomorrow. But stay tuned for other programs on Unity FM. Bye-bye.
Mr. Politician, it's good to see you again. It's been so long since you've been here. You had me thinking you were dead. How's your taxpayer mansion? How was your Mr. Unity.